sponsors at Bryant Stratton are joining us now to talk about steps employers can take to master workplace appreciation. Here with us now with more details is Dr. Christian Blum. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having us, Chelsea.
Of course. Now, there are 5 languages of appreciation. For those of our viewers that are watching right now who don't know them or are unfamiliar, tell us what they are.
Sure. So there are 5 of them. There's words of affirmation, there's quality time, there is acts of service, there are tangible gifts, and then there's also physical touch.
Okay. How can these tenets be applied to work?
So it's interesting. Chapman and White's research actually comes out of a book that many may be very familiar with, which is the 5 Languages of Love. And what Chapman and White did is sort of took those principles and applied them to the workplace. And so what it gives managers an ability to do is to recognize how to best compliment their employees, but also motivate their employees by recognizing that we all have our own sort of dominant language of appreciation that really sort of motivates us and makes us feel appreciated.
You've cited research showing that most employees who leave do so because they feel unappreciated.
Absolutely.
So why is there such a disconnect?
Part of it is perception. So what Chapman and White's research shows is that 79% of employees feel as if they just are not appreciated. Versus 88% of managers actually think that they adequately show appreciation. So the employee has one perception, the manager has a different perception. And there's a huge cost for industry. You're talking billions in terms of turnover costs, you're talking lost productivity, there's decreased morale, it damages team relationships, so there's a huge implication.
I think this is so interesting because we know the love languages and we talk about them when it comes to interpersonal relationships, even, romantic relationships or even with family. But applying these to the workplace is a really interesting concept. Can you kind of give us an idea of how these languages are translated in actionable ways?
Absolutely. So if you think of words of affirmation, it could be a public or it could be a private praise that you give somebody. And we just actually wrapped up doing a series for the Amherst Chamber of Commerce on this topic last Friday. And one of the things that we talked about as a group is knowing your audience. Some people love those public affirmations. Others just want to slide underneath the table when that happens. Others would prefer it more in a private space. So really knowing who your audience is on that one. The quality time comes down to you as a manager spending time with your associates, and it's one-on-ones. It could be taking them out for lunch. It could be giving them just 5 minutes of uninterrupted attention, just to really make sure that they're heard and that they're understood. Acts of service. If you know you're giving an associate a really challenging assignment and you have the time and the opportunity, provide some help. Even if that means grabbing them a cup of coffee or grabbing them a snack or something that you know is just simply going to take care of them as they're working through that very heavy and time-intensive task that you're asking them to do. Tangible gifts, and it probably is one of the most misunderstood one. There's this assumption that the gift has to be something dramatic by nature, and it doesn't. It could be something as simple as a $5 cups of Starbucks coffee. That
Bringing
just shows
in goldfish.
Them. You got it, exactly. Something similar, simple that you know that the associate likes. And then the last one, of course, is physical touch. It's a handshake, it's a pat on the back, and it really does come down to how a person feels that their sense of being appreciated is most graphically represented to them.
Where can people go to find out more information on this and what Bryant Stratton College has to offer?
Absolutely. So first of all, as far as knowing your own language, there are some online assessments. You do a quick Google search and you can find that out. The other thing also is I would get your hands on the book by Chapman and White and read it. Very often those personal reflections that you have can really help you to identify what your language is. As a college, we actually use this for our staff and associate developments. Amherst Chamber of Commerce came to us about a year ago and asked us to do some training for their emerging leaders group. So if you're a manager out there and this sounds interesting to you, we have our faculty, we have associates that could go into your workplace or even have you come to us and we could help you to do some staff development.
Really cool stuff. Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Blum. Viewers, if you'd like more information on how our sponsors at Bryant Stratton College have their eye on education, you can visit bryantstratton.edu. Thanks again for coming in.